Hello and how you guys doing? This is Michael Chapman Jr. And I apologize that it's been a while since I've done a video for you guys. I think it's been around maybe 2 months now. But due to my businesses and it taking a lot of my time away, I haven't been able to sit down and do any content on personal development, business development, and life enrichment. And I apologize for that again. But hopefully I can do more videos for you guys consistently, as I enjoy doing this. I enjoy sitting down in front of a camera talking to you guys, and this is almost like a medium for me to be able to get out some of the things that maybe I've been thinking about, pondering on, and it's a way of trying to connect with viewers that maybe going through the same things I'm going through, maybe thinking about the same things that I'm thinking about, and also maybe taking some of these things that I talk about and applying these things to their daily lives. So hopefully you guys are getting as much from this as I'm gaining from it as well. And I enjoy all the feedback and the comments and the questions that I get. And I want to start this video off with a question that I seem to have received quite often over the past couple months. And I think it's best to answer this question almost in an inverse way, because I think it will impact you guys in a better way. So I get asked all the time, what motivates me? And it seems that people think that I'm a very motivational individual. And going back to me talking about the inverse of it, I think about, well, what keeps you, the individual, from being motivated? And so for me, I could talk about the cliche things of, I do this because I want the best life for my family. I want to inspire my friends, motivate my friends. I want to be able to take 3 and 4 vacations a year. I can give you all these different aspects, but I don't think that will impact you as much, because you can easily go to any inspirational speaker on YouTube and you'll get these same colloquial, talking pieces. But for the inverse of why it is that you yourself, you, the one I'm staring at in this camera, is not motivated, I think a lot of that is attributed to fear. And fear comes in different variations and different varieties, right? It's a demon that is always transforming. But I think for the most part, it's a fear of two things. One, of you failing, so you not achieving what it is that you desire. And number two, people seeing you not in your best light. So, right, the fear of people seeing you fail. So we're going to talk about both of these two aspects, and hopefully talk about some ways that we can, resolve these issues. And I don't know if this is going to be a two-part, because I don't want this video to last too long. So I'm hoping for about 10 minutes or so. But the goal is, a video at least twice a week. That's my goal. And hopefully, as I, gain more time back, I can do 5 videos a week. Monday through Friday would be nice to achieve, but you never know. But anyways, back onto the subject. So the fear of failing, right? And so I always equate this to time, right? We don't know how long we have on this earth to do what it is that we were destined to do. I think that for every single one of us, we have a purpose. I believe that you weren't created just to be sitting on and consuming. I think that we all have the ability to produce, but a lot of times we get complacent. A lot of times we like to be comfortable, so we don't give or put forth as much as we should. But I think we all have a purpose. And for myself, the fear of not stepping into my purpose, the fear of not achieving what it is I was designed to do, scares me more than anything, because I don't want to live a life that is wasted. And so I want to put this back onto you guys. When's the last time you thought of, well, how much time do I have on this earth? Because I know that tomorrow is not promised. I mean, there's people every day that they wake up with new illnesses that they didn't foresee happening. There's things that come into their life that happens that maybe shortens their opportunity to achieve. So I think once you put that into context to say, well, I don't know how much time I have, but right now I'm a healthy individual, or maybe you're not 100% of what you could be, but you say, hey, well, I got 80, 60%. of quality of life, and there are things that I can do. And so once you put that into perspective, you start realizing that, you know, maybe there are things that, or maybe there is time that, or maybe there are ways that, you know, thinking positively, not saying, well, there are things that are prohibiting me from doing, but if you start actually putting, you know, putting things into perspective that you can do, it will help you to achieve. And so, like I said, purpose and time is very huge for me. And I wish more people would start thinking about that. And I think that we would start living our lives, you know, a little bit more different. And we would start interacting with people a little bit more different. We would start cutting things off from our lives that, you know, aren't having beneficial impacts. And so the complacency, the not aware of your biggest currency, you know, I'm kind of moving off topic, and I apologize for rambling, but this is a topic that is very important to me, because I don't think that we realize what the biggest currency, you know, that we have to offer. It's not a dollar bill, it's not a cryptocurrency, but it is time. Your time that you're able to give, your time that you're able to trade for any kind of monetization is the most important variable that you have in your life. And I don't think that people realize or even think about it. And if time is all that I have, whether it is to get to my kids, whether it is to create some sort of legacy, or maybe it is to keep to myself in whatever selfish capacity that it is that I desire, you know, you have to be able to live at the end of the day, you know, when you're old and gray. And I'm not trying to rap or anything like that, but you got to think about this at the end of the day, when you were old and gray, and you look back and you say, well, what did my life amount to? What was the purpose I was designed for? And did I actually do anything that was of importance? Or did I lead a life that was, you know, worth living, right? Because life is precious. So I think that's the biggest thing that pushes past my fears. And you should really take a look at things in retrospect, because yes, you know, it's not fun to put yourself out there, right? It's not fun to say, hey, I'm starting this business, and put it out there for the world to see. And then in the event that you end up failing, you know, there are people that are going to be cheering, yes, I'm glad he failed. Yes, because they in themselves are not happy with the life and the lifestyle that they've led, right? If they were in their full purpose, they wouldn't really care about the fears of others, but they'd be more apt to actually helping people, pulling them up, you know, to encourage them to do better. But most of the time, it's people that are not achieving themselves that are the ones that are going to give the most critique and the most going to be the ones that are most negative. So I try not to listen to that noise, because at the end of the day, all it is noise and distraction. And we allow that demon, right, that fear, that stumbling block to hinder us from achieving. And the next thing is, you know, being afraid to start. And that's not an issue I've ever had. You know, I've always been that individual that's been a go-getter, that if there was something that I saw, you know, no matter what it was, if I wanted it, I tried to at least achieve it. Now, was I successful all the time? No, there was a lot of times where, you know, I missed the mark. I didn't achieve. I didn't get exactly what it is that I wanted. But, you know, there's always lessons to be learned in those things. And I don't think a lot of us look at failures as lessons learned. And I know there's a lot of areas where I failed at, but I was able to say, well, you know, I failed in this aspect, but I'm able to take the things that I learned from this particular aspect, apply it, and then as I begin to apply those fundamentals that I've learned, the end result allowed me to achieve in some form or fashion. And I think that we look at failure as too one-dimensional. It's like, oh, I tried this one thing and it didn't work out, so I failed. But I think if we look at it less binary, we start realizing that a failure is only a piece of the pie. You can get past that failure as long as you don't stop, right? I look at it as a video game. You know how when there's stages, and yes, things don't work out on that stage, you lose, you gotta start all over again, you lose, you start all over again, you readjust a little bit, you maybe now have a strategy because you realize how this boss or this enemy attacks, and so you realize that things have to be timed out, and then so you make adjustments, you posture a little bit differently, and you wait for the right time to initiate. I mean, that's the same way life is, and I think we put too much, we make it too difficult. It doesn't have to be that difficult. We're making this demon of fear way bigger than it has to be. And you just press forward. I mean, that's all you can do. All you can do is look at it as, hey, this is just, the boss for stage number 2. I know what his weaknesses are now because he beat me one time. I reposture myself differently. I wait, I strategize, and then I attack. And that is all it is. That is life in a nutshell. That is achieving in a nutshell. That is a way to continue to motivate yourself as long as you do not give up. Once you give up, then you immediately lose. You immediately take that L. But if you decide to get back up and try it again, and it may not be the next day, it may not be the next week, it may not be the next month, it may be 6 months from now, because you have to save up some more money. You got to, re-reel your team back in. There are things you have to do. But remember, it is not as difficult as we make it. And so I just want to leave you guys with that. And I know I've kind of rambled quite a bit, and I apologize for that. And for me, as I continue to do this more often, I'll get better at talking, in a straight and narrow path. But I kind of go as my mind takes me, because I'm not scripted. I don't have, a teleprompter that is giving me the words and the way and the inflection of how I should say things. I'm just going off the top of my head and how I think and how I truly believe from my heart. And so hopefully you guys take that and it helps somebody out there. But yeah, so my goal is to do at least 2 videos a week. I'm shooting for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometime in the morning time, I want to shoot these videos so that you guys can possibly watch these on your lunch break, or even sometime in the evening. And that's considering you guys are watching at the same day I'm putting this out. But I want to do this, not only for yourselves, but also for myself, to watch me progress. And from a selfish standpoint, I do want to get better at publicly speaking, and I think this is the best narrative for that, to be able to think on your toes, to be able to have a subject, to be able to expound on that, and get your true thoughts from what's within you, versus writing it down, studying it, and being as scripted. I want it to be as natural as possible. And I'm sharing that with you guys because, like I said, this is a medium for me to express myself, and hopefully it'll help somebody else out there. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hope you guys like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. If this is your first time seeing my content and you like it, subscribe and share this with a friend or family member. And I hope you guys have a wonderful and a blessed day.